is about you. You are the selling point, and the landscape is changing. So be your authentic self, because no one wants to go to work being miserable all day. Look at your own resume, look at your own LinkedIn, and look at your impact and what you have provided for that other company. And if you write things in that context, you're going to talk to the next employer.
In my opinion, it's about giving the customer what they really want and just blowing their mind once they get it. And that's what I really love to see, honestly.
Get people to do more of home cooking, home cooked meals, healthy meals, so we can all live long and happy.
I'm very proud to be a mom, because not for nothing, women are amazing.
Oh my God, the sacrifice, and how we make it look so easy.
I was just telling Joanne before we got on the call, I said I had to run from my daughter's school. They had an Easter egg hunt. I said, all right, Mom, I gotta go to work. But you know, just as moms, we make it happen. You know, supernatural abilities. We are the example for them, you know, and I know that with them being a better version of us.
You have to try. You never know how creative you are until you try. Because I didn't think I was creative. I found my creative side during a horrible time in my life.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you all for joining us on today. My name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC. And guess what, y'all? It is 29 days before our Juneteenth festival. All right, I needed to get that out my own system, so I'm sorry. I hope you had to, turn the volume down. It wasn't too crazy, but I'm just so excited. I'm really happy that we are coming to the finish line. Everything is starting to come together beautifully, and I'm just really excited. So, but it's one of those like weird excitements that's nervous, anxiety, like not sleeping, like doing all these things. Like every time I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to create this new to-do list and all of these other things that are happening. But God is good, and I will continue to lean into him and all that he is doing, because where there are challenges, there are glows on the other side. And I am absolutely aware of that, because I've been doing this for 16 years, y'all. And every single year, there has been something that has gone wrong. And knock on wood, not that I want things to go wrong, but I'm just saying that is the case. So we are sorry for the delay today. We were waiting for our host, and she has just joined. So I'm excited about that we get to meet and have conversation with her. We will be talking with Miss Shaina Rainford from the Bask Lather, and she will be talking about her journey and all of the things that, like I said, when you have a business, there are glows and grows. That's what I like to call them. Glows and grows, things that you grow from, that you experience and that you will continue to go through. And I always say in this space, if you are stagnant and you are not going through a grow or a glow at any point in time of your business, then you need to be thinking about what's your next step and what's your next means of what you're doing for your business. So I am going to bring Miss Shaina onto the stage. Hello. How you doing?
I'm okay, moving and grooving.
I totally understand. Trust me, I am there with you. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning, going to networking events. What time?
3:30 a.m. and have never gone back to sleep.
Oh, bless your heart. See, come on. I think I went to bed at 3. So. But that's what part of being an entrepreneur, at least in the growing stages of your business, is at least what I think. And I always tell people this is not something that you want to sustain in your business. You want to be putting things in place so that there are stop gaps and that there are things so that you can get some rest. Because at the end of the day, we don't want no tired eyes, coming on stage and being all crazy looking. So I was like, makeup that'll do it for you. Like that. But Shaina, welcome. I'm glad to have you on. I'm crazy. I hope you know, I like to have fun in interviews. I feel like laughter is the way that we operate through our challenges, and we are able to sustain ourselves. One, as human beings, two, as women. And I don't know, are you a mom, Shaina?
I am. And you see this, my executive assistant just pointed up that I have spit up on my shirt. I have a new
Oh, so fun. Like those great things that
I have a 16-year-old son who's actually our head of growth and marketing. And then I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I have my newborn who's right here. So hopefully she stays napping throughout this meeting.
Well, totally understand. Look, we are being in that mom space all the time because, look, yesterday I was driving on a meeting, like, you know, playing Uber. I have a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old girl. So no babies, knock on wood. I keep like I'm not trying to go back there. I'm not trying to go back there, but
she's
God's
the easiest of them all.
Yeah. You said that's the easiest of them all?
She's the easiest. She's so sweet. She doesn't talk back. No problem.
Not yet. And so you have two boys and a girl?
2 girls and a boy. My oldest is a boy, and the 2 little ones are girls. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you've experienced the girl. So this is my youngest is the girl. So I'm just now starting to experience this whole girl life. And I'm glad I only have one. That's all. I am glad I only have one. But let's jump in. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about the Bask and Lather and why. Tell us, why did you get started with your Bask and Lather business?
Yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Shaina. I am the founder and CEO of Bask and Lather. Bask and Lather will be turning 5 this year, which is crazy to think. Prior to forming Bask and Lather, I was working as a nurse practitioner. So I'm a board certified nurse practitioner, and my specialty was gastroenterology and hepatology. And during the COVID pandemic, working as an office-based nurse practitioner, and when the pandemic happened, the patients there were not an emergency. So the office got shut down, and I got deployed to work at the hospital that was affiliated. And I acquired COVID, became really, really sick to the point where I was on the back of an ambulance on a non-rebreather, begging God to let me live to raise my children.
Oh my Lord.
And I survived,
Yes.
recovered. And then a few weeks later, my hair started to change texture. It felt like a Brillo pad. It was shedding, breaking, all snapping in pieces all over the floor. And I tried different treatments. I was like, do I need protein? Do I need moisture? I was trying emergency treatments and all these different things, and nothing was helping my hair. So then I said, Ma, can you make me some of the oils that you make for Aaliyah? Because my younger sister Aaliyah lost all of her hair due to a ringworm about 5 years before I started losing my hair. And what happened with my sister was initially she was diagnosed with dandruff, treated for dandruff, and the ringworm infection got so bad that her hair fell out completely, smooth, shiny, bald scalp. And it took finally for a Black female dermatologist to properly diagnose her. But at that point, the infection was widespread and the antifungals furthered the hair loss because now you're killing off this fungus that's invaded, and then it caused more hair loss. Now, when the infection was cleared, you would think her hair would have just started growing back on its own, and it didn't. Her scalp was just shiny, smooth, like an old man. For weeks and months after, and my mom became really desperate and took her to all types of specialists, and they did scalp analysis and different assessments, and they said, we don't know that her hair is ever going to grow back.
Oh my gosh.
Mom was devastated, obviously, and became really desperate and did research on natural and efficacious ingredients for hair that help with hair growth, because she was a child at the time. So you can't just go grab something like minoxidil from the store and apply it to a child. Plus, that's also a lifelong treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she whipped up this concoction, which is now our scalp stimulator oil. And within a matter of weeks, she started to develop peach fuzz, and her hair was growing in, but it was growing in very thinly and fine. So then my mom went back and did some more research and was looking for ingredients that help to thicken and add volume to hair. And that's how she learned about the benefits of Jamaican black castor oil. And that led to the development of our hair elixir. which is our oil that is a blend that's Jamaican black castor oil based, but it has other ingredients in it for thickening and strengthening hair. And now today, my sister's hair is for natural textured hair all the way down to her hips. So, and if you want to, anyone wants to check out that reel and that story is pinned to the top of our Instagram page, which is at Bask Lather Co. So fast forward, right? That was my sister's journey. So I was like, Ma, can you make me some oils? Made me the oils. I was using them very consistently. And within no time, my hair stopped shedding, it stopped breaking, it was regrowing, it was thick, healthy, and thriving. And I said, wow, if I just survived COVID and was just begging God a few weeks ago to let me live, and I felt so deeply depressed and saddened about my hair, right, which should have been the least of my worries. Imagine how many other people all over the world that look like me are suffering in silence, right, with hair loss and really don't know where to turn. So from there, I said, we really need to share these products with people because if there's us, there's millions others of us, right, who are going through the same thing. And that's exactly what we did. So I started to share my before and afters and my sister's before and afters on my personal Instagram. And then my followers were like, what are you using?
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, the oils, that my mom makes. And they were buying it like crazy. And they didn't even care what was in it. The bottles were from Amazon. They had no labels. I was doing drop-offs. I was doing deliveries. I was getting pickups. And it took off from there. And then, so this was like early fall 2020. And then later, closer to Thanksgiving, I was like, okay, we need to make this a real business, right? I've already proven concept. So what we did was we, looked at everything we needed to formalize the business so that we do things the right way early on. And we got an LLC, EIN, then an LLC, created a Shopify website, made labels for the products, got those printed and applied to the bottles, did the product listings on Shopify, made a business Instagram page, and launched December 18th, 2020. And then fast forward to March of 2021, just 3 months later, the monthly revenue from the business in 3 months was more. 1 month of revenue was more than my year salary as a nurse practitioner.
Come on now. Come on, God. Like, you just won't you do it. Like, he saved your life for a reason. You was in the back of that. I'm sure you were in no way thinking that this moment in the back of the ambulance would end in this space right here. That is definitely a blessing. To that. So you quit, I'm assuming.
So this was March of 2021. And I remember either my discernment or whatever, God speaking to me said, you should quit. And I was like, no, I'm going to see if I could go part-time. Then I remember my birthday's also in March. So I go on my birthday vacation. I come back. The day I came back from vacation, my supervisor was in my office and wrote me up for being late on getting a PPD, which you need when you're taking care of patients, that she never reminded me that I was due for, like my previous supervisor would do. And then a few weeks later, I had a patient at the end of the day who came 45 minutes late, and I refused to see them because I had to go get my daughter from daycare, and I got written up again. And I said, God wants me to move.
Like, you ain't gonna do it. You ain't listening. Let me make it happen for you.
So now this is April, and I remember saying, okay, well, I was in the process of getting ready to close on an investment property. And I said, well, I can't quit my job while I'm closed on an investment property. So I had to wait until that was done. And I had about 8 days of vacation. So I took my vacation. And then on the last day of my vacation, I sent my job an email at 5 p.m. saying I will not be back. And I had already cleared out my office and left my badge. And the month after this, the business tripled in revenue. So this was June, the first week of Monday of June that I resigned. And in July, the business was doing multiple 6 figures a month. And it's really just grown and blossomed from there. And now we're one of the fastest growing hair care brands, not just Black owned, hair care brands in general in the entire United States.
Wow. So have you thought about going overseas with your brand as well?
Yes. So we ship globally all over the world. We always have. And now what we're looking at doing is warehousing in different countries so that the shipping is affordable for the consumer so they can use their local couriers. So those are some next steps for us. We're going to start working our way down through our top non-US markets and start warehousing and distributing there. We have a distributor in Ghana. We have a distributor, I believe it's either Amsterdam or Denmark. My director of operations would know. she's on this call. She can write it in the chat. Yes, so our goal is to expand globally and eventually retail when we're ready. We've had retailers reaching out to us for the past 2 to 3 years and distributors to retailers. But we really just want to continue dominating the digital space because the landscape has changed as far as retail goes since 2020. And I know me personally, I don't go into stores at all. I'm an Instacart, DoorDash, day delivery, Amazon to the day I die.
Absolutely. So she said, Miranda said Denmark.
Denmark. Okay, so we have a distributor there as well.
Denmark. So this is dope. So there are a couple of different things that, like I had a whole list of questions, but you just said a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, I want to deep dive into what you just shared, right? Because one of the reasons why we have gotten so deep diving into our vendors for and you guys are one of our vendors for Juneteenth, so we're really excited about that. But why we've been so much deep diving into our vendors is during, like, similar to kind of your story, during COVID, we had, after the social unrest and everybody's like focusing on culture, and I think Walmart came out with, I don't know if anybody remembers this, Juneteenth ice cream. Right. And they were like promoting it all over the place. And everybody was like, oh, yay, we so excited. They got ice cream. And then some people started deep diving, like the NAACP. And they were like, so who's the, what's the brand behind this? Like, who is it? And it was like, oh, it's a Walmart brand. Walmart brand. So you just slapped Juneteenth on your brand and y'all are selling it like it's y'all's? Like this? No, that's not okay. And so during that time, I had a lot of conversations with individuals about that, because it was like, it was an upheaval. It was like, oh my gosh, how could they do that? Why would they do that to us? And my question to people was always, so raise your hand if you know how to get your products multi-distributed. If somebody came to you and they said, I have $1 million contract, I need you to create 1,000 of your products in the next month or so, are you able to do it? And 100% of them was like, no, I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't even have my documents in order. And that's when I started to realize, you know what, I have to do my part to help us to level up. Because we're not going to do it on our own. A lot of times we have to have things that are in front of us that we're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out on this opportunity. So it's like, yeah, so we created Juneteenth to be the opportunity that you're going to miss out on if you don't have things. Because guess what? We get a whole lot of corporate sponsors. We get a whole lot of corporate partnerships that are like, hey, do you have a product or do you have an organization that could do this, or that we could feature, or that we could partner with, or that we can utilize for this and X? And it's like, if you don't have your insurance, if you don't have your branding properly, if you don't have your logos, a website, if you don't have a process in place to be able to take orders, how can I send a corporate entity to come to you? And they sitting there going back and forth, and they're not like, messing. So talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to go through that process preemptively, or not preemptively. Was it something that like catapulted you to make, I mean, other than the orders, right? Because you had orders kind of coming in left and right. So what was it that made you say, let me legitimize this?
So for me, I'm a firm believer in starting where you are with what you have available. But I also knew that it was important to, I'll tell you actually, and this even prompted me to right away get trademarked, to file a trademark application. I remember going to the after work with a big bag of orders that I had to drop off to the post office. And the guy's looking at the labels and he said, oh, Bask Lather, that's a really nice name. I said, I'm going to file a trademark application. And that's exactly what we did. But from the very beginning of starting the business, right, I knew, well, I really wouldn't say I knew anything because I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I didn't know any like real legitimate entrepreneurs. But what nursing does afford you, and it doesn't afford you this, you must have A1 amazing critical thinking skills to be a nurse. It's one of the hardest bachelor's degrees to get. The NCLEX board exam that you take is it tests nothing but critical thinking and prioritization and delegation. Everything you need to be a successful entrepreneur, right? So I'm a person that I can do a lot with a little. So you know how you go on YouTube and you watch videos like, oh, how to do this or how to do that. And you have these gurus who make it sound like they're giving you a lot of information, but they're really just giving you bits and pieces so you can buy their course. Well, I'm the person that doesn't need to buy your course because I have amazing critical thinking skills and I can piece together and figure things out. So I remember going and looking and watching different videos and looking at other hair care brands and, you know, how can we legitimize ourselves from the start? And that just really included getting an EIN, which is free. Our LLC application, my mom figured out how to do that and she filed it for me.
Okay.
Rules of incorporation. The trademark I got because the guy at the post office said, oh, that's a really nice name. And I said, I'm going right to trademark this. So I found a trademark attorney and I took care of that. I knew we needed a website if I wanted to sell beyond my Instagram and Cash App, right?
Yeah.
So I just started to piece those things together and figure it out. And anything I needed to know, I Google searched, I watched videos, I went and looked at other brands, e-commerce brands online and kind of what they were doing. And I followed suit from there.
Wow. So your trajectory of your journey is definitely an astounding one, and definitely one that I feel like a lot of people in the business industry needs to hear about, because there are so many holes and gaps where we just feel like, oh, I want to continue to operate in my business as a hobby. And that's one of the biggest things that we're constantly screaming at the top. Like, stop operating your business as a hobby, because if you want it to be a business, it needs to be a business and not trying to do things under the table. I remember I had one person, I was like, you know, we send them invoices and they're like, oh, can I pay you in cash, or can I send it to you through Cash App? And I was like, no, we don't do Cash App. Like, we are an official like business. We need to have transactions that we can follow and so on and so forth. And it was like, oh, well, I use Cash App because it doesn't get tracked. And I kindly sent her a whole email from the IRS talking about how Cash App and PayPal and all of these platforms get sent to the IRS and they are absolutely tracking it. And she was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I guess this is not an event for me. I was like, I guess not, because I need you to level up, sis. And she is now out of business. I did reach out to her a couple of, every year I reach out to all of my vendors and I'm like, hey, you coming? Are you gonna, I know you weren't ready last year. Where are you at? She's like, oh, actually, I stopped doing business altogether. And that just kind of, puts into the mindset of where we are with things. So we have a little bit over 50 people who are between Instagram and Facebook who are following us and on right now. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask Shaina, please drop them in the chat. I will be sure to ask her these questions. So moving on. So you talked about having to grow like fast, right? So the next part that people are always challenged with are building a team. They're like, oh, when do I decide when to build a team, how to build a team? So what systems or what team structures have you put in place to help you manage the rapid growth of your business?
So I remember the way I got by for the first year or so was, luckily I had amazing family and friends who I paid.
There go the baby.
And every weekend we would refill oils all week. And then on the weekends, I would have about 10 or 11 family members at my house and friends. And we would be in the living room printing orders and packaging them up. And then USPS would come and pick them up right from my driveway on Monday. And eventually it got to a point where I said, I need real legitimate employees, because this is not, now I'm at a point where this is not feasible, right? So I remember putting up positions for warehouse associates. We moved from operating out of my home to our first warehouse within 8 months because I just had oils and packages, and it took over all 3 floors of my house at that point.
Wow.
So, and the post office was backing up into my driveway sometimes 2 times a day, filling up truckloads of packages. from my
Wow.
driveway. And I said, okay, this is the, I have to get a warehouse. So I found a warehouse locally, which was 2,500 square feet. I remember posted on Indeed. I hired warehouse associates and I hired an admin assistant. And I had about 5 warehouse associates and I had an admin assistant. And then we outgrew that warehouse in about another 8 to 9 months. And then in 2022, we ended up moving into the early second year of business. We moved into an 8,000 square foot headquarters.
Wow.
And from there, I remember it was one Labor Day where now we had a contract manufacturer. So we weren't filling products. They were reproducing my formulas on their lines in the contract manufacturing warehouse. And but we were still self-fulfilling orders. And I remember we had a Labor Day sale, and the Labor Day sale went through the roof.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely through the roof. Didn't expect it. And we ended up backed up on orders for 3 to 4 weeks. And typically we shipped very, very quickly. We had every day, all the carriers coming to the warehouse, packages going out. And I remember sitting down in my conference room in my warehouse and crying because, I'm not one of the business owners that wants to just collect money from people. I believe in excellent customer service and speedy fulfillment. And it really bothered me that customers were upset, new customers, returning customers. And I said, this will never happen again. So at that point, then I went and began researching third-party fulfillment centers. And if you don't know what a third-party fulfillment center is, they are centers where you can have your product delivered there and they deal with everything logistical. So they will receive your products. They will track your inventory. You have full access. They do all of your order fulfillment. It syncs with Shopify, or I'm not sure. I know some people have Wix. I've never used Wix, so I'm not sure how that goes. But they actually will sync with all of your platforms. They sync with our Amazon. They sync with our Walmart. They sync with our Shopify site, our TikTok shop, and they fulfill all of your orders according to your standard operating procedures and guidelines. And we have full transparency into everything. We have 1 business day order fulfillment guarantee.
Okay.
We also see the dashboard, how many orders are going out today, how many are in queue, how many were processed. We can calculate, we can see our days of inventory and forecasting, and we can see everything very transparently. And just to be honest, in-house, it would have cost extensive amounts of money to even be able to purchase that type of software that can do those things that it takes to really operate at scale. So I found a 3PL. Great. They took over logistics. And another thing, after I said this will never happen again, is I said, okay, at this point, I needed an executive assistant, not an admin assistant. And I remember posting the admin assistant position, executive assistant position on Indeed and LinkedIn. And I got some good resumes. And I remember there was one resume that said, oh, everyone in my house uses your products. If you don't answer this, that was a cover letter. If you don't answer this, I'm going to come to the warehouse because I live close by.
Okay.
And she's on this call. She's now our director of operations. But so on one day, I had all my interviews scheduled for this one day. And the position was for executive assistant. And I remember looking at her resume and I was like, she's not really an executive assistant. All of her experience is operations and e-commerce and all of these things. And I said, you know what? God said, you might not really need it right now, but you're going to need it soon. Right. And that same day, I also actually interviewed my executive assistant, who is my executive assistant now. So I hired both of them. So I hired my director of operations. She was operations manager upon hire. And I hired my executive assistant. And those are my right and left leg. And we are scaling from there. And now we're hiring an operations manager to work under my director of operations.
Nice.
For a brand we just hired, she's starting on Monday, a brand operations and partnerships coordinator. One of our big goals for this year was to do every event we could, local, far away, really be on the ground face to face with our consumers. We're hiring for project manager. We have social media positions, digital marketing strategists. So we are expanding our team significantly again to customer support lead to really continue to operate in excellence and grow. I'm a person who you know, people wives will say like, oh, if I ask my husband to do something and he's not up doing it 1 minute later, I'm like on the roof fixing it myself. That but it doesn't work that way in business, right? You need other people who are equally as smart and driven and working towards the same mission. And you need to expand your bandwidth. At the end of the day, there's only 24 hours in a day, and we're human, right? So now what we're really focusing on is we got logistics down packed. We're you know, expanding even our manufacturing processes, and now we're expanding our team strategically with people who are going to focus on different important aspects of the business so that we can continue to grow and scale and operate on a forward thinking, be in a place of forward thinking versus day-to-day survival.
I absolutely love that. This is like so like your whole experience and everything that you have gone through and being a mom throughout this process, right? And having 3 children, I feel like is a challenge within itself, like because you have this whole newborn situation, and what I mean newborn, not the newborn that you actually had, but the newborn of the business being a newborn, because you're going through the grows and glows in that space and learning. God has definitely blessed you. People are like, wow, this is really amazing. Like, I love your story. People on Instagram are like, this is so dope. I can't wait to buy your product. So we're definitely going to talk about your products in a moment. But what has been the most surprising part of being a CEO that people often do not see on social media? So what's that behind the scenes? And like, I think you talked about one of those moments that being on the floor crying, like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do, kind of thing.
I would say every day is a surprise. You just never know what's going to happen. Even recently, we just had I told you, I recently hired my son, who's 16 years old, as our head of growth. And believe it or not, 2 years ago, my son had, I remember I hired my first ever social media manager. Prior to that, I was managing all of our social media by myself, grew our following to like 300,000 by myself. And I remember hiring my first social media manager, then I hired a second, and nobody could figure out TikTok. And then TikTok Shop launched or became widely available early summer 2023. And around the same time, my son and my younger brother started a clothing brand, and they had videos going crazy viral. Okay. And so now it's end of June, you know, in New York, you get out of school the end of June.
Yep.
And my son says to me, Ma, your social media managers suck. I could do your TikTok. I said, Jaden, you don't know anything about women and you don't know anything about hair. And he said, it's not about women or hair. It's about content strategy. Right? And
come on now. You better out of the mouth of babes.
All summer. And we're still holding, we have 3 top products. We're one of the top TikTok shops in general. And we have 3 top products in their category. So we have the #1 styling gel. So our hair growth, our Stronghold Edge Control is the #1 on the entire TikTok platform in styling products. It's also the #1 styling product on the entire Amazon. And I'll talk a little bit in a few about the Black Business Accelerator that we got invited to. Okay. We also have the #1 sold hair growth oil on TikTok Shop. And we have the #1 selling balm. It's like a pomade. It's a scalp grease. So that's the #1 in its category also. And we're still holding this position. So then recently, my son Jaden, he was looking at our growth from 2023 to 2024. He's like, you only had 25-30% growth. And he said previously we were doubling in revenue every year. And he said, so he intervened and he started leading strategy and creative and content strategy and ad strategy. We have an agency, we work with one of the top paid media agencies. And my 16-year-old has been leading the strategy, and we have 400% growth year over year so far with him leading the strategy.
Come on.
He's very smart. He's a marketing genius. I remember I was telling him the other day how like one of my friends is always playing Candy Crush, and he's like, that's so unproductive. So I think I was also a teen mom. So my son watched me go through 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree. He watched me become a nurse. He watched me hustle with entrepreneurship. So I think he's used to just always doing something, always being productive.
Yeah.
So on his free time, on top of being a straight A student, he's listening to podcasts, he's studying entrepreneurs, he's following marketing gurus, and he's really leading our growth strategy right now. And so what's happening to us right now is that our manufacturer couldn't keep up with our demand. So right now we had to onboard two much larger manufacturers that together have several 100,000 square feet of manufacturing space, because our current manufacturer just can't keep up with the new demand this year.
Wow.
To expand our manufacturing, and also we won the D2C, so direct to consumer growth award. Our 3PL has over 1 million square feet of space,
Wow.
multiple states in Canada, and we were their fastest growing company of all. We had 691% year-over-year growth in volume of orders between 2023 and 2024. So we won that award.
Y'all are just crushing the game right now. Like, y'all need to be leading all kind of things, and definitely maybe we got to get y'all to come on and talk to some of our businesses about just what y'all have done and how to kind of do it. Or should I say, we need to get Jaden to come on and talk about so we have to. I'm a firm believer. My son does a lot of some of our social media stuff as well, and he definitely does that, and encouraging him to do a little bit more of that piece of the studying other brands and what they're doing and how to do it.
If I'm laying in bed, like if I want to take a 10-minute break, I'm laying in bed. My son is like, I know you're not laying in bed, and we not the top Black owned hair care brand in the US yet.
Come on, look, he got lofty goals. He holding you to the fire. That's what I'm talking about. He's like, Ma, we got plans. We got things that we need to do. So talk to us about the products, right? So what are your top 3 products that you sell, and why do you think they are your top 3 products?
Mm-hmm. So I would say right now our top 3 products are our scalp stimulated hair growth oil, which is the hair growth oil that I told you about. Powerful natural ingredients, powerful formula that actually really works. And the way it works is science-based. Our second most popular product is a styling product. It's our Stronghold Thick Edges Edge Control. And that product is popular amongst the Gen Z, millennials, and even older women.
Yes, because they be all late, all kinds of.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that is unique about our edge control is that it's very strong hold, but it doesn't harden or break your hair. So no drying alcohols, no toxic ingredients. You can scan our edge control on the Yuka app and see it's rated 86% for clean ingredients. And so it's non-toxic formula that actually works. It has really good moisture, a balance of hold, but also really good oils in it. So it works really well. And then I would say our third most popular product is actually a bundle. It's our Healthy Hair Starter Kit. And every single one of our products have a purpose. So I think one thing that makes Bask Lather unique is that we don't have products really just for maintenance. They all have a purpose. So like our shampoo is strengthened shampoo, because it literally, the way I formulate it with my chemist, is to strengthen your hair from the inside out. The conditioner is a replenished conditioner because it replenishes moisture and hydration. Then it has our scalp stimulator oil in that bundle. It has our balm. It has our hair elixir, which strengthens your hair, locks in moisture, reduces split ends. We have our hydrating mist. It hydrates. Hydration is important for growth and length retention. It's a rosemary water also. So that's our most popular bundle, and it literally has everything that you need for wash day in between. Again, following that non-toxic ingredients, works amazing for all hair types, but really curated to providing the elements that foster not only growth, but length retention for textured hair. And it's everything you need in the bundle.
So now I have, locks. So what do you, I know you talked about more of the day-to-day kind of washings. Do you have any products for people with locks as well?
Absolutely. Our hydrating mist and stimulating scalp and hair balm, which is shea butter, mango butter, has rosemary, really good ingredients, works wonders. Locks, I always explain, is a protective style. Protective styles need love too. Locks can thin out, they can break, they can be lackluster. So we have our products work well for locks too, and they're penetrating, right? Those two products I just explained to you, and even our scalp stimulator oil that goes on your scalp, it's penetrating, lightweight. So it'll add shine, add hydration, help to keep the locks nice and thick and luscious.
Got it. So you did mention something I had wrote down earlier. I wanted to actually was about the third party. A lot of people who are in the space of kind of not sure if they want to go into this. I want to be a third party. I want to get a third party individual, or they're like, oh, well, what if they steal my my products, or what if they steal my the products, the how to make the products and stuff like that. So what can you share to someone who is thinking about utilizing a third party platform to
Manufacture,
right, to manufacture their products? With that, how did you kind of get through that portion?
So one, you would just make sure that you're utilizing a reputable contract manufacturer, and two, you don't even speak to them without a non-disclosure on file. So they shouldn't, no one should have access to your formulas other than their chemists and R&D people. And two, even for us, they shouldn't have our products on display if we're working with them when other people come. Like, oh yeah, well, we make Bask Lather too. Like all of that should be included in the non-disclosure.
Got it. So that's great. Somebody said, I said, can we get some samples for Juneteenth?
We'll have products available at our Juneteenth activation.
All right. So this is more about like just the empowerment space I want to ask. So here we know is deeply tied to like who we are, our identity, our confidence, especially in the Black community. How does Bask Lather tap into the emotional connection in your branding and community outreach?
Bask Lather is all about branding and community. Everything we've done from the beginning is to create a safe space because, right, our products are really targeted towards people who have vulnerabilities, right? Either they're suffering with some form of hair loss or maybe they just want to grow their hair overall, but a lot of our customers have vulnerabilities. So even if you go to our social media, you'll see we're not always sell. Like we could have something that's funny that you could laugh at. Something that's super relatable. Like one of our most funny posts was the social team posted it and they tagged me. It's like, oh, tag your bald-headed sister, right? Because my sister lost all of her hair. And it's just like we're creating a safe space for people to be vulnerable. People share their stories and before and afters with us. And that's very important to us because it's a community and it's a tribe. So even we can have people that are like, oh, well, hair growth products don't work. And our customers will go to war for us. Like I had a bald spot for 15 years and I used the scalp stimulator and my bald spot grew back. And I can show you the proof, right? So we're all about creating community and creating a safe space for people to just be themselves.
I love that. So now I'm going to switch gears because this month is all about like mental health, right? You're a mother, you're a real estate investor, and you're a CEO. How do you protect your peace and prioritize your self-care?
You just do it. Like tomorrow, my team and I are flying to Miami for an event that I'm speaking at, and we're going to the spa right after we land. Before, right? We actually had to move our spa day, and I told my executive assistant, I said, I don't care what, you better move that. I'm going to the spa, right? So we're going to the spa as soon as we land. We figured out where to fit it in. So I'm very big on self-care. Even with my newborn, I make sure my hair is done, my nails are done. She's also a very good baby. Like you see, she's just sitting here sleeping. I just find time to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And when you look good, you feel good.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Like just putting it in, making sure that it is very much present. I like that. Prioritizing your self-care. So what does legacy mean to you?
Mm-hmm. So for me, legacy means really, I think it means two things. So I think when a lot of people think of legacy, they kind of think of what they're leaving behind, like to their family. And for me, it's more so of the impact that Bask Lather is going to have on the world. So I always say, like, I'm not the CEO that wants to be popular or known. I think most people don't even know who owns the company because I'm more so focused on how we're going to have the biggest impact, right? Not how to be popular. So really, it's just the impact that Bask Lather is going to have on the world, right? And when people think of non-toxic, natural products that work and that are made for them, I want them to think Bask Lather.
I love that. Bask Lather. So, what's one piece of advice you give to someone just starting their journey in beauty or wellness in this entrepreneur world?
I would definitely say to start with whatever you have where you are. I started Baskin Lather with $400 of my own money. And 4 years later, we're multiple 8-figure company. Soon we'll be at almost a 9-figure valuation. We have no investors. We have no debt. I just operate the company in that way. And I started the company with $400. We've been profitable from the very beginning. So you just have to start where you are. Remember, our first products didn't even have labels on it. People were buying it on Instagram.
I love that. Look, just what they say, do it until you get to where you want to be. And I love that you just jumped in and kind of got started and kind of, like I said, self-funded. A lot of people, I think, get stuck on that and don't, or that analysis paralysis, like it has to be perfect. I have to have all the labels. I have to do this. I have to do that. And it's like, sis, you need to know that people like your product first before you get to the point of spending all of this money and investing in it. So this is my last question. My second to last question. So Juneteenth is about freedom. We're also about resilience, as you talked about, and we talked about legacy, right? How do those values show up in your life and your brand today?
I think I'm the epitome, the epitome of resilience. There's no, especially when you have children, there's no, like, just like motherhood, right? Your kids don't care if you're sick, they don't care if you're tired. So, like, my little one here, she was born 6 weeks early because I developed severe preeclampsia. And my team could tell you I was in the NICU with her on my lap for 9 days, and I'm answering emails. And they were like, you literally took one day off, right? Like, I'm answering email, like the show must go on, especially when we're in our growth phase. Our growth phase is not going to wait for me to pop back out, right? Exactly. When I graduated high school, I had a 1-year-old on my hip, right? When I was getting my master's to be a nurse practitioner, I had 2 children, and I was working full-time nights as an emergency room nurse. And when my 7-year-old was 2 weeks old, I had to go to clinicals to earn credits on direct to patient care credits towards my master's degree. You just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 a.m. and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do, all HELL would break loose, because tomorrow me and my 2 key people are out of the office traveling to Miami for business, right? So you just do what you have to do.
I love that. Well, I had one last question, but it looks like somebody has a question. When did you know when to stop working and focus on your business?
When our 1 month revenue was more than my 1 year salary. I'm also, again, proof of concept. Sometimes people like to think that voice in the air is God, and it's really dumb. And then they quit their job and wonder why now they're financially unstable and why things didn't work out. I'm a big, huge proponent of where God guides you, he provides, right? So I always follow his lead.
I love that. And you got Rand in the background saying Shaina is an amazing leader and she leads by example, which helps drive all of us. We love her so much. And to have your team, your staff to say that about you definitely means a lot, because, you know, what they say, what somebody says behind your back is what they really mean. And what they say in your face sometimes is not always, but just that constantly be hearing that you are an example is really great to hear. And so my last question, so before we close out for today, is about what does Juneteenth mean to you, and what do you look forward to with being a part of the Juneteenth festival?
I think that one, for me, Juneteenth really means unity. So I know that Juneteenth really becoming an official and respected holiday, right, was prompted because during the pandemic, people were working from home or either laid off. And it was one of the first times in a long time that we saw Black people actually come together, right, for things that mattered. And it was just amazing to see, right? So for me, Juneteenth just means, we're carrying on the legacy of what unity, how powerful we are as a community, right? So even right now, right, even with the DEI initiatives and things that have changed, right, at these big box retailers, and looking at the impact that the Black dollar deficit is having on these huge multi-billion-dollar corporations, right? That's what Juneteenth means to me, right? And we were actually in the process of onboarding with one of them when this all happened, and then we pulled out because we said we're not going to launch with you right now, right? So for me, Juneteenth means unity, and I'm always happy when I see our communities coming together, because I think we're one of the few demographics that, and it's all my undergrad degrees, I have a bachelor's in biology and African American studies, and during that time, getting that degree, I learned a lot about how a lot of the separation and kind of even some of the crabs in the barrel mentality within our community is not really our fault. It's the way there was that mass separation, and that really now just continues on, right, subconsciously.
Absolutely.
To see the community be able to come together and working towards one vision, one mission is nice to see, even if it's just for a day.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. And yes, totally. I'm constantly sharing with people. It is collaboration over competition. That is how we thrive. That's how people in the upper echelon of this world continue to thrive. Is
There's no competition at the top. There's collaboration at the top. And that's something else that people think that you have to compete. And that's not really how it works. Well-off people are collaborating. They're sharing knowledge. They are sharing resources. They are not being crabs, because what you don't know, someone else knows, and they're exchanging information and elevating one another. And that's why you see the Black community has the lowest wealth, right? The lowest amount of wealth. Hispanics, Chinese, everyone else has more household income and wealth than Blacks, and that's part of the reason.
Yes, I totally. I'm on that same page with you. And thank you. Any last words before we close out today?
No, this was great. We're really looking forward to the event.
Well, we are excited to have you on board to be with us this year. And we are looking forward to trying out the products and having our community test it out and see all of the greatness that you have. So thank you again for joining us and for sharing your story and telling us all about your process, your journey, your how you got started, and about the family, and just laying it all out there. That transparency, I think, is very helpful in anything that we're doing. So thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna put you backstage. I will come after we close out to close out with you.
Okay.
So thank you. And awesome. That was really great, y'all. I really hope you got some takeaways from that experience, that conversation. I got a whole bunch of notes on my my paper. I didn't even have time to get my paper because I was like, just writing that. So much information that I think is so really great, and so much for you to be able to walk away with so many gems. So I definitely hope you took some things that you're able to walk away with. Like I said, we are 29 days away from our Juneteenth festival. We definitely hope to see you there. If you have not already, please go to our website, JuneTeenthNY.com, to register. We are in the registration phase, so people who want to participate in the different activities, please go to the site and register. Go to the site, go to our Instagram, continue to follow us on Juneteenth NY so that you can see we'll be announcing all of our vendors, all of our sponsors, all of our community partners, all of everybody will be coming up shortly, and some recaps from some previous events that we have done. So if you haven't been following us lately, please do. But until next time, we'll see you next Thursday. We love you all. Continue to operate in collaboration, not competition, because that's what unity really means. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Dermatologist said her hair would never grow back. My younger sister had lost all of her 4C hair to a ringworm that had been misdiagnosed as dandruff. Today, my sister's hair is waist length, thanks to Bask Lather Co. Desperate for a solution, our mother took matters into her own hands and created 2 hair growth oils, one to stimulate growth and another to thicken and retain length. That experience sparked the foundation of Bask Lather Co., a natural hair growth brand focused on not just growing, but retaining the length of textured hair. As a CEO and board-certified nurse practitioner, I'm proud to say that what started as a family solution has now become a trusted brand for our customers who have seen the same incredible results on people just like them. Bask Lather Co. Whether you're looking to restore growth or simply maintain your hair, your journey to grow it and keep it too starts here.